Let us get ready for the playing of the national anthem of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, which will be followed by an opening prayer. Let us pray. Praise be to you, Almighty God, Creator of the universe and all that is in it. We thank you, O Father, for the opportunity which you are giving us to increase our knowledge. May your divine grace enable us to work hard and use what we learn for the good of our fellow citizens. We pray that you will free us from selfishness, lust, greed, anger, and hatred. Warm our hearts with love, fill our minds with understanding, and strengthen our wills in the face of all difficulties. Help us, O Father, to make our beloved country of Trinidad and Tobago the kind of place you want it to be. A place where human dignity is respected, where equal rights are accorded to all citizens, where hard work is encouraged and rewarded, and where you, O God, reign supreme. Dr. the Honorable Michael Dowlett, Minister of Education, Ms. Simone Williams, Permanent Secretary, Acting, Mr. Kishore Lachman, Permanent Secretary, Acting, Dr. Peter Smith, Chief Education Officer, Dr. Carla Kronberg, Manager, Teacher Education, Performance and Professional Development Division, other directors, managers, and heads of department at the Ministry of Education, parents and guardians, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ministry of Education's sensitization session on the reintroduction of the continuous assessment component of the secondary entrance assessment. As the vital bridge between the home and the school, your insights, perspective, and lived experiences are central to shaping an assessment framework that not only supports student well-being but also fosters a balanced, transparent, and equitable learning environment for every child in Trinidad and Tobago. To officially open today's session, we are honored to welcome a leader whose vision and commitment continues to drive innovation across our nation's schools. It is therefore my privilege to welcome Dr. Peter Smith, Chief Education Officer of the Ministry of Education, to deliver opening remarks.
Parents, guardians, good afternoon. On behalf of the Ministry of Education, it is my distinct privilege to welcome you to today's sensitization session on the phased reintroduction of the continuous assessment component of the secondary entrance assessment. Sensitization sessions are a vital bridge between the ministry and the home. They provide a structured opportunity to share clear information, update you on changes within the primary school framework, and answer the questions that matter most to your families. Therefore, our primary purpose today is to ensure that you, our parents, and guardians feel completely informed, empowered, and supported as we share the details of how the continuous assessment component will work in your child's classroom. Meaningful engagement with families is essential as we move forward. These sessions allow us to improve transparency, build strong homeschool partnerships, and address any anxieties or concerns you may have about your child's academic journey early on. Ultimately, when parents and the ministry understand each other clearly, we create a more stable, predictable, and encouraging environment for our children to thrive. We believe that effective communication must genuinely embody clarity and reassurance. The Ministry of Education is in the process of developing a robust framework, and today we want to show you exactly how these practical tasks will fit naturally into the regular topics your children are already learning. This session is designed to give you total peace of mind, clarifying that this is not about adding extra exam pressure, but about recognizing your child's steady, everyday effort throughout the school year. I want to strongly encourage every single one of you viewing to listen closely and participate fully in the upcoming question and answer segment. We want to ensure that any questions or concerns you have about timelines, tasks, or school level support are acknowledged. Thank you for your presence, your commitment, and your willingness to partner with us as we propose this system for the benefit, well-being, and success of every learner in Trinidad and Tobago. I now hand you over to our moderator for the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Peter Smith, Chief Education Officer, for positioning the objectives of today's session within the broader objectives of the Ministry of Education and challenging us to think critically about the information that will be shared today. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to now introduce a leader who is instrumental in shaping the future of education in our country. Please join me in warmly welcoming Ms. Simone Williams, Permanent Secretary acting in the Ministry of Education, to address us.
Good day to our parents, guardians, and members of the public. Thank you for joining this consultation session on the reintroduction of the continuous assessment component, C.A.C. When we talk about education, our thoughts naturally turn to our children's future. For a long time, that future seemed to rest entirely on a single high-stakes exam day at the end of primary school. We know the anxiety that this brings to your households. Today marks a major turning point in how we value your child's learning journey. The Ministry of Education is actively working to change the rigid approach through a system where your child's everyday effort, projects, and classroom activities throughout the school year can count towards their final placement. We want to make it completely clear that this is not about adding more exams or creating extra work for your children. In fact, it is quite the opposite. These practical tasks are designed to fit naturally into the regular lessons and topics that teachers are already delivering in the classroom. Your children will simply be learning by doing, whether through hands-on projects, practical tasks, or creative assignments. making the classroom a more engaging and interactive place. By spreading the assessments out throughout the school year, we are taking the heavy weight off that single day of examinations. We want to give our students the time they need to truly absorb the lessons, ask questions, and grow at a healthy pace. This approach ensures that if a child has a difficult test day, the entire primary school effort is not lost. Their consistent hard work throughout the term will stand as a testament to what they know and can do. Our goal is to build an education system that sees, appreciates, and rewards the whole child. We want to celebrate the thinkers, the creators, and the problem solvers. But to make this framework work in the real world, we need your active partnership. We cannot design a school system for families without involving the families themselves. We need to hear your honest thoughts, understand your daily family routines, and listen to your expectations. Your insights today will directly shape how these tasks are scheduled, communicated, and rolled out. We want to ensure that this transition is smooth, transparent, and completely supportive of your home life. Thank you for stepping forward to look at these plans with us today. Your presence proves that we are all committed to raising confident and well-rounded children. Thank you for your participation and attendance. Please enjoy the session. May God bless us all.
Special thanks to Ms. Simone Williams, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, for those powerful and inspiring words. Participants, I am Tisha Laris Sagam, Teacher Education Specialist here at the Ministry of Education. My role is to support the smooth flow, guide our discussions, and ensure that your feedback is precisely captured. Our collective goal is to build an informative, engaging, and enriching session. Before we begin, I invite you to take a moment to review the agenda. It will serve as your guide throughout and help you follow along with today's discussions. Before we commence the presentation, let us go through the online webinar netiquette guidelines, and I will remind you of how to effectively use the features of Facebook Live and Microsoft Teams. Please pay attention to any guidelines shared during the webinar, including how and when to ask questions. Use the comment section to ask relevant questions or to provide feedback. Keep your questions clear, concise, and relevant to the topic. Avoid spamming or posting duplicate questions. Please remain respectful in all interactions. Let us maintain a positive and professional environment. To ensure your questions are answered using Facebook Live, locate the comment section on Facebook Live, click the bar where it says Comment As, type your question clearly, and hit Send. Our Q&A moderators will review your question and either respond directly in the comment section or forward it to the presenters. Some participants are also joining us via the Microsoft Teams platform. To use the Q&A feature on Teams, locate the Q&A icon in the toolbar, click it to open the chat panel, type your question clearly, and hit Send. Thank you for adhering to these guidelines, which will help us ensure a smooth and productive session. To guide us through the operational design principles and pillars of the continuous assessment component, it is my pleasure to introduce our presenter, Dr. Carla Kronberg, Manager of the Teacher Education Performance and Professional Development Division here at the Ministry of Education. A very warm welcome to our presenter.
Thank you for being here with us this afternoon. It is my pleasure to share some of the key aspects of the continuous assessment component of the SEA, the C.A.C. 2026, with you today. Before I begin, I want to acknowledge that C.A.C. has a history in our education system. Today, we at the ministry want to emphasize what is new. It is our thinking behind the C.A.C. We have reimagined the C.A.C to serve our children and our teachers better. So, how does the C.A.C serve our children and our teachers better? I want to share with you 4 ways in which it does so. First, it is designed to emphasize higher order thinking skills, which we know are so crucial for navigating 21st century life. We want our children to engage in authentic activities that reflect and mirror real world challenges. We believe that is the way that our children will grow and flourish in a 21st century landscape. Second, it provides a balanced measurement of student learning. We know that a single exam on a single day cannot capture everything that our children know and can do. The C.A.C will allow us to see our students learn and grow over time. Third, and I believe this is very significant, the C.A.C has the potential to transform teaching and learning in our primary school. It can shift the culture away from preparation for mathematics, ELA, and ELA writing to one where we focus on subject knowledge and genuine skill development. Finally, and just equally important, a key feature of the design of the C.A.C is a reduction of the assessment overload. So instead of focusing on a series of tasks, we are moving towards an integrated approach to assessment. And this, we believe, is more purposeful and less burdensome for our teachers and our students. I want to pay a little attention to where we have come from. In the previous iteration of the C.A.C, subjects were taught largely in isolation, and each subject was assessed separately through separate tasks. In all, our students had to complete 9 tasks. But we're not going to use this approach. Rather than looking at siloed subjects, the C.A.C experience will be one where subjects will be grouped into cognate clusters. And we have grouped subjects together that share a natural connection. And they are integrated around an assessment that focuses on a real world problem. The Imagine C.A.C has 4 clusters. The first cluster is P and life skills. And I want to tell you that life skills is made up of 2 subjects. The first being social studies, and the second being values, character, and citizenship education. The second cluster is VAPA and ELA writing. The third cluster is agri-science and science. And finally, the fourth cluster is mathematics and digital skills. We know that digital skills curriculum has not been formally introduced at the primary school level. So what we are going to do is we are going to focus on algorithmic thinking, which our students are exploring in the mathematics curriculum. We want to start with the foundational skills for digital competence, and that is logical thinking and problem solving. And as we build the infrastructure and the digital skills curriculum expands, it will be fully integrated within this cluster. You will note that the cognate approach means that assessment is integrated. And you've heard me say that word more than once already in this presentation. And what that allows us to do is that it allows our students to develop skills in authentic content. context. So it means that our students will produce tasks that show their creative and their critical thinking. What this approach also does is that it reduces curriculum overload so that learning feels purposeful and connected. And very important, we believe that this will prepare our students for an interdisciplinary approach, which they will encounter in secondary schools and throughout their life. I want to spend a little time looking at the schedule for the C.A.C. And I want you to know that we have carefully considered what the schedule should look like. The C.A.C. is structured across Standard 4 and Standard 5 with one cognate cluster per term. So, in Standard 4, students will experience 3 cognate clusters. In Term 1, students will begin work on Cognate 1, P and life skills. And in this cluster, they will be working, thinking, and focusing on healthy living. In Term 2, Cognate 2 focuses on VAPA and ELA writing, and the focus here is on creative communication. And I want to let you know that we have strategically placed this cluster here because this is the term that our students are engaged in creative activities. So we wanted the C.A.C. to align fluidly with the school's activity. The third term brings Cognate 3, which is agri-science and science, and this is focused on scientific inquiry. We have also strategically put this cluster in term 3 because we know it will take a little while to get the resources needed for this cluster. So we wanted to ensure that all our schools had the necessary resources to complete this cluster successfully. Standard 5 has one cluster in term 1, and that cluster is Cognate 4, mathematics and digital skills. And this will focus on problem solving and reasoning. It will be completed again in term 1, and then students will begin to transition into SEA preparation. We've also strategically put this cognate here because we wanted our students to have an opportunity to engage in mathematical thinking in ways that are creative and engaging. We believe this is a fantastic way to revise and prepare for the SEA exam. This spread ensures that every cluster gets dedicated time and attention, and that our students in Standard 5 preparing for exam will not feel overwhelmed. So, we talked about the structure. I know what your next question is. So, what are the marks attached to C.A.C? So, we have proposed a structure, and this structure involves a 70-30 split. The C.A.C cognate task will account for 30% of our students' final SEA score, while a traditional SEA exam, which covers ELA writing, mathematics, and ELA, will have the remaining majority 70%. We did this intentionally because we believe it maintains the integrity of the existing SEA while creating a meaningful space for our students to engage in assessments that are holistic and creative. I want you to know that we have thought about how the C.A.C will be marked, and we will be using standardized rubrics, and moderation will occur to ensure fairness and comparability. This is not a free-for-all. There's a structure behind the C.A.C, and that structure will ensure accountability. I want to focus on the principles that ground the C.A.C. And I want to focus on 5 principles this afternoon. The first is one of time. The C.A.C. will take a minimum of 4 to 6 weeks to complete. And we have done so purposefully because we want our students to genuinely engage with the problem, to develop skills, and to produce a quality product. The C.A.C. is also age appropriate and familiar. We have grounded the task in things that students know and care about. We have used an inquiry-based model rooted in problem-based learning and project-based learning. So students are not going to be told what to do. Rather, they will investigate, they will solve problems, they will create, and they will think critically. I've said this before and I will say it again. Learning and assessments are integrated. That means that teachers are not adding extra tasks. Rather, as the students learn, they are being assessed. And this is what we would recommend for you, teachers, that as you engage with the task and as you mark the task, you can use the marks from the task and include them in students' report at the end of the term. And this, we believe, will reduce the need for setting papers and marking additional exam papers. The work of C.A.C. will be completed primarily during class time. And this, we believe, will reduce the pressure on students and family. There are suggested opportunities within the C.A.C. for curriculum integration, especially integration that focuses on literacy and numeracy. We have strategically done this with the C.A.C. because we believe that the C.A.C. should support rather than compete with the school program. We want the C.A.C. aligned with the school program. I want to give you a sense of what the cognate task will look like. We've thought about it very, very carefully, and we have designed cognate tasks that are active, that are collaborative, that are contextualized within the real life community of the school. We've purposely designed the task to make it exciting and to make it meaningful to students. And I want to say to you, we have thought about it and we wanted to design a task that would capture our students' imagination. And we wanted that capture to be a coherent thread throughout our 4 cognates. We wanted the task to be authentic and challenging, and we believe we have found it. So as you will see on the screen, you see a beautiful picture where our kids are playing around flowers, they are sliding, and they look happy. So what I want to say to you this afternoon is welcome to Happyville. And Happyville is a place filled with sunshine, where there are wonderful neighbors, where our children are friendly, our children are happy. There's bright and beautiful flowers all over the place. And anywhere you go in Happyville, our children laugh and our children play. They share and they care about each other. It's a place where our children engage in a wonderful adventure. I want to live in Happyville. But guess what? With every place that we find happiness, there's a villain who wants to destroy it. I want you to meet Toxitron. Toxitron is a villain who spreads unhealthy habits, misleading media messages. He encourages our children in poor food choices and makes them generally weak. That's the problem that our children have to solve. They need to figure out a way how to combat the influence of toxitron and return Happyville to what it was. Doesn't that sound dramatic? I think that our students will be engaged in it, and they will engage in it because it will feel real to them. And our students have a particular role to play in Happyville. And that role they play is a role of superheroes. And why not our students being superheroes who can defeat Toxitron? Our students are resilient. They can take any problem and solve it. Our children are creative thinkers who can think outside the box. Our children are kind. They are brave. They are helpful. Our children love to explore. They are caring. Our children are determined and our children are confident. They have all the skills to defeat Toxitron. So each term, our students will assume the identity of superheroes, and each cognate task is framed as a mission to defeat Toxitron. They will use healthy living knowledge. They will use creative communication skills. They will use scientific investigation, and they will use mathematics reasoning. I want to tell you today that the superhero framing is a deliberate pedagogical choice. When our students feel they have agency and purpose, the quality of their work rises significantly. And that is what we wanted to engender, a sense of agency and purpose. And we want to see our children grow and develop. So each term, our students will engage and complete a performance-based cognate task linked to the Happyville team. The tasks are not add-on. Rather, they are the vehicle for curriculum delivery, our students' skill development, and an assessment all in one. It is truly integrated. What performance-based assessment means is that our students are given the opportunity to show us what they know by doing. They are not going to fill in the blanks. Rather, they are going to present. They are going to produce. They are going to investigate. And best of all, they are going to argue and reason. They are going to produce learning that is visible and tangible. So imagine, if you will, for one cognate task, our students creating a comic strip where they show how they defeated Toxitron, sorry. Isn't that an exciting way for our students to show us what they know and can do in ELA and VAPA? I want to tell you that the C.A.C is not going to happen overnight. We are going to adopt a phased approach, which we believe is a responsible approach to implementation. I want to spend a little time with you exploring and explaining the next slide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this beautiful graphic show on your screen, and I'm going to stay silent for a couple of minutes just for you to absorb the slide, and then I will explain it to you. So as you can see, we are going to adopt a phased approach to implementation. And this phased approach will occur over a 3-year period starting in September in the academic year 2026-2027. And it will involve Standard 3s, Standard 4s, and Standard 5. So let's start with September, the academic year 2026-2027. Our Standard 3s will engage with C.A.C, but they will engage in it through training and exposure. So we have a task for them, and their job and their role is to get accustomed to an integrated approach to performance-based assessment. So we'll be spending the whole year on teaching them this approach. Our Standard 4s will have 2 terms of training. And in the 3rd term, they will experience 1 cognate. And that cognate is the agri-science science cognate. That cognate will happen in term 3 of the academic year 2026-2027. For our Standard 5 students in that academic year, they will have a normal SEA preparation, SEA, and then post-SEA activities as steps. And by the way, I have to say that the drum rope competition was phenomenal. The academic year 2027 to 2028, our Standard 4 students will engage fully in C.A.C. In term 1, they will experience PE life skills. In term 2, they will experience VAPA ELA writing. And in term 3, they will experience agri-science science. Do you remember the students who were in Form 4 last academic year? That's 2026 to 2027, who wrote 1 cognate? Well, they would be in Standard 5 and they will have 1 cognate, math digital skills, which will take place in term 1. Then term 2, they will have SEA, and then they will engage in all the post-SEA activities as steps, and hopefully there will be jump rope again. And the academic year 2028 to 2029, C.A.C, will be integrated. So our students will experience, our Standard 4s and our Standard 5s will have complete C.A.C rollout. So I'll give you a little time to look at it again, and then I'll just recap it and then move on. So just to remind you, we are adopting a phased approach, and we believe that this is a responsible way to implement in C.A.C. The phased approach starts in September with the new academic year 2026-2027. Our Standard 3s will have training. Our Standard 4s will have 2 terms of training. And in term 3, they will experience 1 cognate. And our Standard 5s will have a normal SEA preparation. In the academic year 2027-2028, our Standard 4s will experience all cognates, and our Standard 5s will experience 1 cognate. And in 2028-2029, it will transition effectively to all schools. We cannot talk about SEA and C.A.C without looking at the implications for implementing it. This is not just about curriculum change. There are system level implications that we right now are actively working through. I want to spend the next couple slides talking to you about them, and that is infrastructure, implementation of resources, and quality assurance. Let's start with infrastructure, and we are focusing on three main areas. First, we need to think about the SEA framework that is necessary. And what we need to do is we need to integrate the C.A.C within that examination structure. I want to let you know this afternoon that we are working on this currently. The second thing that we need to think about is the C.A.C registration and the SEA registration timelines. They need to be aligned. We need to provide schools, parents, students, and administrators with a manageable and a clear calendar. And right now, we have been working hard on this. A third area of concern for us is uploading students' work for review and for moderation. We want to ensure that when we upload students' work, we do so in ways that are secure, efficient, and equitable. Curriculum review is also a part of this. We are using the cognate approach, and we want to ensure that all our curriculum documents reflect this integrated model that we are asking our teachers to implement. We do not expect parents, teachers, and students to implement C.A.C without clear and practical guidelines. Therefore, we have been involved in creating a suite of resources for our parents, our teachers, our students, and our administrators. At a general level, there will be manuals for the administrators, teachers, and parents. Each manual will be tailored to meet the person's specific role. And then at the cognate level, we will also be creating teachers and students guides. And within it, our teachers and our students will have a variety of resources, which will include instructions, timelines, rubrics, and support materials. We are also spending time collecting the resources we will need. For example, we know that for science, we will need seeds. We are looking at the C.A.C not abstractly, but we are planning for real classrooms. Let's pay attention a little bit to quality assurance because we believe that this is central to the credibility of the C.A.C. We are building quality assurance and we are building a system that has multiple levels. For example, we would be using standardized rubrics across schools so that the student in Superior is marked the same way as the student in Sangre Grande using the same criteria. We are looking at the monitoring and moderation processes that we will need to establish. And we know that whatever system we put in place, it must be consistent and it must be fair. And therefore, a big part of that conversation is a conversation with C.A.C to ensure that our moderation systems are structured and functioning for the consistency required. We see training as important. It is not just about teaching teachers how to do the task, but how to assess fairly and produce reliable scores. We are also thinking about all our students, including our private candidates. We are looking at what we need to do for our students who lay outside the traditional schooling system. We want to ensure that the C.A.C is inclusive of all our students. Today, we want to be transparent with you about how much work we are doing at the C.A.C. It is not just about a paper. We have been working on this for some time. We have been reviewing the previous C.A.C framework and engaging in a full reimagination to address some of the challenges. We are developing our Cognitas, Standard 4 and Standard 5, drafting rubrics, mark schemes, and checklists, and guidelines for teachers and our students, as well as developing our handbooks for parents, administrators, and all other resources. Right now, we are engaging in consultation with all our stakeholders. We've engaged in consultation with tutor, with our principals association from both public and private schools, with the NPTA and the Homeschool Association of Trinidad and Tobago. We have engaged in consultations with the denominational boards, and we have spoken to stakeholders in Tobago, as well as engaged in consultations through focus groups with our teachers. We have even conducted virtual town halls, spoken to all our principals at the primary school level and all our teachers at the primary school level. And we've done that because we believe the feedback is important. Whether it's a concern, a question, a suggestion, or an endorsement, it is being recorded and will inform the finalized version of the C.A.C. We want to let you know that we are taking this process seriously, and we strongly believe that this will make the C.A.C. stronger. I want to close today with a clear statement of what the C.A.C. is designed to be. The C.A.C. is designed to address the previous challenges of the previous C.A.C. We want you to know we've learned from the past. We are engaged in a phased implementation process, because we are not asking anyone to change overnight. We are engaging in it in an authentic way. We want to focus on skills, not task overload, because the C.A.C. is about quality and not quantity. It is aligned to the primary school curriculum. It's not an addition. It is what teachers do every day. It is embedded into teaching, learning, and instruction. And finally, we have taught about the C.A.C. in a way that protects the integrity of the SCA, where 70% of the examination component remains. So this ensures academic standards of the SCA remain intact. As we engage with the public on C.A.C., we would love to hear with you. And to do so, we do have a number of ways you can do so. You can do so mainly through our email, which is cac@moe.gov.tt. If you have questions, if you have concerns, if you have comments, anything at all about the C.A.C., please share it with us. Again, I will repeat the email. It's cac@moe.gov.tt. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Carla Cranberg, for sharing such an informative and insightful presentation. Participants, having heard the presentation, the floor is now open to your questions. Please feel free to type your questions into the comment section of the Facebook Live or on the Q&A section of the Microsoft Teams platform. Our moderators will ensure your questions are addressed in an organized manner. And we do have present with us a panel of representatives. Please feel free to type your questions available to answer your questions of the Facebook Live any or on the Q&A section of the Microsoft Teams platform. And we already have several questions coming from the various participants having heard the presentation. And we do have the floor is now with us a panel of representatives. Please feel free to type your questions available to answer your questions of the Facebook Live any or on the Q&A section of the Microsoft Teams. That is our homeschoolers. How will parents be notified?
Good afternoon, everyone. Private candidates will be assessed at a centralized location. A schedule will be communicated to parents, tutors, homeschooled associations, so that the candidates will be given instructions, directions, and they will be facilitated at these centers. It is difficult given the variability amongst arrangements by which homeschoolers and private candidates engage in their instruction to address their needs at their various locations of tuition. Hence, the Ministry of Education will provide a facility where all resources, materials will be available for the students to engage. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that response, Ms. Anna Singh, Director, Curriculum Planning and Development Division. So we do have a question. What systems will be put in place to ensure that marking is fair?
The systems put in place considers not just one aspect, but the entire aspect of the process, and where quality assurance supports standardization of all practices. So from the quality of training to afforded teachers so that they can implement the C.A.C, to the tasks which are developed for all of the cognates. These will be standardized as well as the rubrics, the scoring mechanism. All of this will be standardized, be part of the training to assist teachers in implementing consistently. Within the school, there will be in-school monitoring, and then there will be external monitoring to support the process of quality assurance and standardization. As well, within the school, a system of in-school moderation will be effected to ensure that all our teachers are marking with the same level of rigor. That is, not too harsh, not too lenient, or erratic. Once all of these quality checks are in place, then the C.A.C's external moderation process will become activated to ensure that the scores that are submitted by the school reflects the standard as anticipated from all the interventions made from the onset of the C.A.C to when scores are uploaded.
Thank you, Ms. Singh, for that very comprehensive response. We do want to assure parents that the integrity of the C.A.C is of utmost importance to the Ministry of Education. Will additional provisions be made for students who are diagnosed with special needs or even those who are not? And parents are particularly interested in those with physical disabilities which may limit their participation in physical education tasks. What provisions will be made for such students?
A pleasant good afternoon to all. The Ministry of Education is committed to ensuring that all students with special educational needs are able to fully participate in the continuous assessment component. We will do so by ensuring that these students have access to special assessment arrangements or concessions. In particular, for students with physical disabilities, The accommodations that these students so require will be clearly communicated to their teachers and stated in the students' individualized education plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Ms. Forbes, Student Support Services Division Representative. Would sample tasks and completed student examples for each cognate be provided to parents so they can help guide their children?
Yes, the parents will be provided with a particular resource that outlines the requirements that will give guidance to parents in terms of the task and how it is assessed, so that I take note the request for an inclusion of exemplars. So we will consider that as well, so that parents will have available to them support resources.
Thank you, Ms. Singh. Now, our viewers are concerned about absenteeism from school for health and other concerns. What measures are in place for these students, and what will happen if they miss the marking of a particular cognate when they are absent?
As indicated, the C.A.C assessment task will be implemented over a period of 4 to 6 weeks. So it will mean that for a student to get no mark in terms of being able to participate, they will have to have been away for a significant portion of the term. It is not that the task is marked at one instant and they will miss it. It is over a period, over sessions within that timeline, so that we anticipate that students who have not made a particular day will have the opportunity when they return to school to be assessed, as the assessment is not a one-shot event. On the other hand, if a student is absent for a significant portion of the assessment and was unable to participate, then arrangements will be made in collaboration with the C.A.C to ensure that their child is equitably treated, as is the case for all regional assessments over which the C.A.C presides.
Thank you. And there is a concern about resources. Will the necessary resources be provided to schools, private, public, homeschoolers to complete the tasks discussed?
All resources for the implementation of the C.A.C task will be provided at the school. However, as indicated, if a student is categorized as a private candidate, homeschool, that includes a homeschool candidate, and they will have to come to a center where the resources will be provided so that they can be assessed.
One of the cognate tasks included ELA writing, creative writing. Will English language arts be assessed under this particular cognate?
So creative writing is actually part of the English language curriculum. So it is part and parcel of our students' uh, written expression. It is the task will be no different from the preparation they are receiving under normal instruction for what we call ELE writing. It is just that the stimulus topic will be derived from the context of Happyville, the superhero that they are representing, and the piece will be developed around that context and background.
And who will be marking the C.A.C tasks? Will there be external markers from the Ministry of Education, or will it be done by the class teacher only?
Marking will be fundamentally be done by the teacher, however, not in isolation. Once there are multiple classes within a school, we are in encouraging and we will be looking to support cross marking because we want to ensure that the scores from that cohort of school students at that level are all standardized. So we will have cross marking, and that will be facilitated through the internal moderation exercises. There will be monitors both internally to the school, that would be senior teachers, HODs, and the principal, and there will be external monitors, in the form of Ministry of Education specialists who will be looking and checking and facilitating the monitoring and moderation processes that are supposed to happen at the school. So yes, the teacher will be marking, but the teacher will have oversight as well as the teacher will have support from their colleagues. May I add that the teachers, these tasks are ministry developed, and so will be the rubrics. So the teachers are not developing the rubrics or the mark schemes themselves, but they are actually applying standardized rubrics as they are trained to so do.
What procedures will be put in place if a parent wants to query the C.A.C marks? Will the C.A.C tasks be remarked?
Thank you very much. And that's a very interesting and important question. The Ministry of Education is partnering with the Caribbean Examination Council, C.A.C, to ensure the reliability or the consistency in terms of the scoring. So, as was just explained by my colleague, what the Ministry of Education is in the process of doing is putting in place a process which ensures that the marks that are derived from each of the cognate groups actually represents what the child should be awarded. And let me go through what the process is like before I give a final answer. It starts off with all cognate groups being derived or being built out from the objectives of the curriculum document. Added to that, we are going to have training of teachers on an ongoing basis. Along with the training, we will also have monitoring. Now, these three activities, again, that I just explained, are designed to ensure that the tasks are scored appropriately. In addition, what we will also do, as was mentioned, there will be a system put in place whereby there's cross mark. In other words, if a school has 3 or 4 different teachers at the same class level, be it standard 4 or 5, they will share their scripts and mark each other's work. After that, we have what we refer to as the moderation exercise, whereby, again, working together with the Caribbean Examination Council, a sample of scripts are taken from each class, and those samples are then scored externally with oversight from the Caribbean Examinations Council. So in a sense, there will be a second marking of the work that was first scored by the teacher. At that marking center, what happens, parents and guardians, we would normally have what we refer to as chief examiners. These are specially selected persons who have the skill and the qualifications to score these assessments, and they would oversee that process. So at the end of the scoring exercise, we cannot, in a sense, get anyone higher or above the chief examiner. And that's a standard system that obtains not just in Trinidad, not just in the region, but in many other educational jurisdictions. I am saying all of this basically to say, because of the processes that we'll put in place to ensure quality and consistency, there will be no place for that query of the C.A.C marks. So that once the marks are given, those are final marks. And let me just say this. During that moderation exercise where the scripts are scored outside of the school environment, if the moderators or the chief examiners examining the work realize, okay, perhaps at this school, these scores were perhaps too severe, too lenient, or sort of erratic, what they will do, they will rescore not just those sample pieces, but all the work from that respective school. So in a sense, we have already built a process of query into the C.A.C with the external moderation. So to simply state, that query and second marking has already been built into the continuous assessment component. Hence, there wouldn't be the need for an additional query because we would have had at that point in time the best trained, best qualified individuals doing the scoring outside of the classroom environment. I trust that answers your question.
Thank you, Dr. Peter Smith, CEO, for that response. But just to follow up, parents are asking whether they will have access to the students' C.A.C scores before they write the SCA exam.
Thank you very much. Again, a very interesting question. So there will be the unmoderated scores at the school level. Okay, the final moderated scores that will take place at the moderation exercise, and that will be managed by the Caribbean Examinations Council. Okay, so the unmoderated scores, yes, that will be available at the school, but when it comes to the moderated, because that will be managed by the Caribbean Examinations Council, those scores we will not know until they are finalized.
Thank you very much, CEO, for your response. Can the various cognates be reiterated for our viewers based on the proposed timeline? And please highlight for our viewers in which standard the full C.A.C will occur.
So I just take just a couple minutes to look at this beautiful graphic because I think that this beautiful graphic explains it so well. So as I previously indicated, we are going to adopt a phased system for the rollout of the C.A.C, and it will begin in September 2026 at the beginning of the 2026-2027 academic year. The students who will be in Standard 3 in September, they will experience training and exposure to integrated performance-based assessment. They will learn about it and we will give them time to be comfortable with it. Our students will begin Standard 4 in September 2026. They will have 2 terms of training. So term 1 and term 2, they will get comfortable with an integrated performance-based assessment approach. In term 3 of that academic year, which will begin sometime in April 2027, our students will experience the first cognate, which is agri-science in term 3. Our Standard 5 students in the academic year 2026-2027 will have normal SEA. They will engage in SEA prep in term 1. In term 2, they will write the SEA, and in term 3, they will engage in post-SEA activities as steps and engage in job pro as one of those activities. So the following year, so next year, September, not this year, September, next year, September 2027 to 2028, the Standard 4s will engage all 3 terms in the C.A.C. So term 1, they will experience cognate 1, which is P, life skills. Term 2, they will engage in VAPA, ELA writing. And term 3, they will engage in agri-science and science. In that academic year, which starts next year, September, our Standard 5 students will experience 1 cognate, which is math, digital skills. Then term 2, they will write the SEA exam, and in term 3, they will engage in post-SEA programs such as STEPS. In the academic year 2028 to 2029, C.A.C will be fully integrated with our Standard 4s and our Standard 5s engaging in the C.A.C. So I'll pause for a minute and let you look at it again, and then I'll wrap up. So once again, C.A.C begins in September during the academic year 2026-2027. That is this September. Our Standard 3 students will engage in training for a full year. Our Standard 4 students will have 2 terms of training, term 1 and term 2. And in term 3, they will experience cognate 3, agri-science, science. And our Standard 5 students will have normal SEA preparation, SEA, and post-SEA activities. The following academic year, 2027-2028, which is next year, September, starting, our Standard 4s will have 3 terms of C.A.C. In term 1, PE Life Skills. In term 2, VAPA ELA. And in term 3, Agri-Science Science. And our standard 5s will have the fourth cognate, which is a math digital skills in term 1. They will then engage in SEA in term 2. And then in term 3, they will engage in post-SEA activities such as STEPS. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kronberg, for that very detailed explanation. As we have you on, will teachers be trained to incorporate these cognates in the classroom? And will they be trained to fairly mark the tasks?
That is an excellent question. Yes, teachers will be trained. Of course, we have developed a training item. It is not as exciting as superheroes and villains and a Happyville tongue, but it is also authentic assessment. It is integrated, and we have based it on real world context that our students will appreciate and enjoy and be excited about. So yes, our standard 3 teachers and students will have training. Our standard 4 teachers will have training. Our standard 5 teachers will have training. And just as with the phase approach, training will also adopt our phase approach. So we will continuously be training our teachers. Our goal is that our teachers be confident and comfortable with implementing a performance-based integrated assessment of the C.A.C.
Thank you again for that response. Can the weighting or mark distribution for each cognate be reiterated for our viewers? Particularly, will the students who are entering Standard 4 and writing the essay in 2028 be weighted 30-70 as well?
In the phased approach, students who are writing the SCA in 2028 and thus experiencing only 2 of the 4 cognates will be assessed in each case 7.5%, a total of 15%, 85% therefore will be derived from the final SCA exam. However, in 2029, the current standard 3 students who will be, students who will be standard 3 in September, they will be the first cohort to have the full experience of the 4 cognates totaling 30%, and therefore they will have 70% being derived from the final essay written paper, giving a total final score of 100%.
Thank you, Ms. Singh. Will there be any changes to the National Primary School curriculum or the essay assessment framework to accommodate C.A.C.?
The C.A.C. currently will and will always be aligned to what is in the current primary school curriculum. However, we intend to have a curriculum review because we want to make certain aspects of the C.A.C. more prominent and more authentic in going forward. I'm particularly referring to the digital skills, which currently is being explored through the lens of algorithmic thinking, which resides really in the mathematics curriculum. But algorithmic thinking is a foundation to developing digital skills. In the curriculum review process, we will explicitly introduce digital skills at the primary level, and therefore the tasks in the future will be more specific to digital skills. It would not just be digital skills, but the entire curriculum is expected to be reviewed because best practices suggest that curricula are reviewed and updated so they are to be modernized. And that is something that is routine in terms of best educational practice. At the time of review, whatever becomes the new curriculum, that will be the basis for the design of the C.A.C so that it remains aligned to the curriculum or syllabus that students are being taught.
If a child has to resit or retake the SCA exam, will they have to also redo the C.A.C tasks? Will they get an opportunity to improve in that area?
So students who just wrote the SCA, next year there will be no C.A.C, so they don't have to be concerned about that. However, students who will for the first time be doing C.A.C in Standard 4 next year at the third term, they will be doing the agri-science, and then when they go in Standard 5, they'll be doing mathematics, digital skills. Should a student have to resit the SCA, whatever cognate of the C.A.C is being implemented at that time during their period of repeat or resit, they will participate in that cognate. So for instance, a standard 5 student in 2028, if that child is resitting, that child will now be a standard 5 student with the students who are going into standard 3 in September. And therefore, along with those students, they will do the cognate for standard 5 as they redo or resit the year level. I hope that clarifies.
Thank you very much, DCD, for your response. Thank you, participants, for your questions and your participation. We have now come to the end of the Q&A segment. If you do have further questions or concerns, please feel free to email the designated email address cac@moe.gov.tt. As we near the end of this session, we'd love to hear your feedback. Please click the link provided in the Microsoft Teams chat and in the Facebook Live comment section, or you can simply scan the QR code which is displayed on your screen to complete the evaluation form. Your feedback is extremely valuable and will help guide future initiatives. To bring us closing remarks, please join me in welcoming Ms. Michelle Carter, Director of the Schools Supervision and Management Division here at the Ministry of Education.
Good evening, parents, guardians, and other viewers. As we come to the end of today's sensitization session, I want to express my sincerest thanks to all of you for your time, your active involvement, professionalism, and keen engagement in today's deliberations. The Ministry of Education has embarked on this journey of curriculum renewal with a reimagination of the continuous assessment component of the secondary examination entrance assessment. We have done so with the conviction that the success of this project highly depends on the support of our stakeholder partnerships, our parents, our guardians. Policy is only as strong as the collective will of those who shape, support, and experience it. Today, by joining us and sharing your distinct insights, you have helped us ground this initiative in practical reality. Your critical feedback, recommendations, and expectations have been clearly noted by our technical teams. We take your contributions and submissions forward as a guiding framework to refine our planning, implementation, and support systems. Today's session is just one step in ongoing transparent dialogue. We remain committed to keeping you informed, involved, and supported as we move closer to implementation. The feedback gathered here today will be considered to refine our operational guidelines. This is not a one-off conversation. It is the baseline for continuous partnership. As updated frameworks, resource schedules, and timelines are finalized, we aim to ensure that the various stakeholder groups are not left to navigate these changes without clear direction and robust support. Thank you once again for your unwavering dedication to the transformation of education in Trinidad and Tobago, and for working alongside us to create a fairer, more holistic education system for our nation's children, who I should dare say, who are our young superheroes who will conquer Toxitron in our Happyville. And please enjoy your evening, and thanks for spending time with us today. Thank you.
Let me take this opportunity to thank Ms. Michelle Carter for the closing remarks and to extend special thanks to our presenter, Dr. Carla Cronbig, for the insights shared and for guiding us through today's topic, continuous assessment component. Special thanks to every parent, guardian, and educator who participated in today's discussion. Your feedback is exactly what will allow us to enhance the continuous assessment component as we strive for a more balanced, equitable, and holistic school system. You can visit the website of the Ministry of Education at moe.gov.tt for further information and updates. On behalf of the Ministry of Education, thank you for your time, your passion, and your continued dedication to our nation's children. This session has now formally concluded.